Yesterday, the 18th, was officially National Hug Your AK Day. Now, when holidays fall on a Sunday, often people will commemorate them on a Monday. So I'm not sure if your local post office and banks will be open today. They might be taking a bank holiday for National Hug Your AK Day. I'm not sure. But if your bank and post office, if they're closed today, it's because of National Hug Your AK Day observed. You know, there's the official and then there's the observed. So we hope you guys enjoyed your Hug Your AK Day. And if you're observing today you're observing it, go ahead and post a picture of yourself hugging your AK and # Hug Your AK. Like pound me too?
Pound Hug Your AK.
All right, Zach, put the needle on the record. Put the needle on the record. And it goes like this.
Stand by for education, enlightenment, enjoyment, and entertainment.
He's not here to talk about your feelings. He's not here to say what you want to hear. He's here to say what needs to be said.
Ladies and gentlemen, and children of all ages, please welcome your host, the pimp hand of America, Professor Paul Markle.
Yes, indeed. It is I. It is we. And it's time to do what we do. Do that voodoo that we do so well. Now, if you happen to be listening to this live and you have a question, quick, fast, and hurry, drop it into there. And we may have the opportunity to get to it today or just say hello. Hope you guys enjoyed last week's episodes. We had two really good ones, two super in-depth. Would you say that those were bonus public hours?
Yes.
Both of them went for an hour, I think. But we want to remind you that if you would like to hold the United States government accountable for their own behavior, you know, they work for you. That's the way this country was founded. We are not their slaves. We are not their servants. They are not our masters. And if you'd like to hold the ATF accountable for its behavior and help other people in the industry, go to FRAC Action. That's FRAC action.org. FRACaction.org. And you got to put those things together, because if you just put FRAC, there's all kinds of pro and con and against fracking and so forth. This is the Firearms Regulatory Accountability Coalition, trying to actually hold the public servants, the people that take our money every day. Our money. Yeah, our money. The people who are paid with our money. Let's hold them accountable for their behavior. They are not our kings. They are not our masters, and they are not our rulers. This is not England where we have a king. They're like in the UK. They're just a figurehead. They're not in charge of it. Whatever. We got some cool stuff for you guys. We just launched this. You may not be aware of it. But we have the Firearms Fitness Workout Program, and it's available right now. It is a specifically tailored training program, practice program for you guys out there so that you can get the absolute most out of your available time and ammunition. This is essentially, think of it as an advancement beyond the one-box workout. This includes scoring. It has multiple target distances, multiple types, sizes, and shapes of targets, reloading, one-handed drills, two-handed drills, and so forth. If you are looking for a way to enhance your abilities, your skills, to take your skills to the next level, and it's also interactive, or it's user-friendly. You can just take your iPhone or your smartphone or whatever to the range, open it up, and just use it right there. Or if you're an old school dinosaur, you can print it out on a piece of paper and take it with you and bring a pencil, and you can score yourself. And yes, there are scores. You are coached as how to score your targets and so forth. And you will know after about a half hour or so, you'll know exactly where your skills are and where you need to improve. So there you go. That's something that we provided for you. I know that right now in the world, people are not traveling. It's getting cold. Hell, Christmas will be here in 2 months.
I know, it's crazy.
Christmas will be here in 2 months. So this is something you can do at an indoor range and an outdoor range. You can do it on your own time. You don't need a lot of specialty equipment. The only specialty thing you need is an official student of the gun skill maintenance target. That's the only specialty thing you need.
And the good news is that if you are a customer of the Firearms Fitness workout program, you get a discount on the targets. So it's just makes it more accessible to you. You can get one target for like way less than $1 with the discount. So
yeah.
Yes. I was thinking about setting up a target down here and doing the down here in my basement and doing this program with an airsoft gun, see what happens.
You know what I discovered in a tote the other day when I was unpacking, because my whole life has been basically in boxes for about a year. A bunch of pellet guns, and I don't mean airsoft. I mean
like pellet,
lead pellet, CO2 pellet guns. Yeah. And you know that area where behind the house where there used to be a bunch of scrap wood and crap that I cleaned out?
Yeah.
I was thinking that would be a great little target alley.
Oh, that's true.
There's just a cinder block wall at the end of it. So
yep.
It's not like the pellets are going to damage it. So what else do we have for you guys today? Oh, Jared's wearing his new shirt. If you're not aware, ping, that was my wife. If you guys are not aware, we have a new shirt for you guys. It's called the Original Stoner. And show them the Original Stoner. The public group is not aware of this.
Here you go. I'll take it off for you.
There you go. And the cool thing about that shirt is when you encounter people while you're wearing it, they'll either 100% get it, and then you know that they're down to clown, that they're good to go. Or they'll give you a weird, stupid look, and then you know. It was kind of like, what shirt was it that it's a Fighting Solves Everything. Yeah, that was essentially my asshole filter. Fighting Solves Everything t-shirts. Oh, I can't say that. Sorry, Zach. Write that time down. That's my a-hole filter, because that's how I either know that somebody's like, hey, good to go, or they're a douche. Either way. Because if they don't like it, or they're like, well, you're an idiot and I don't need to talk to you, so great. I just filtered you out of my life. So there you go. And, Fighting Solves Everything, they're still available, the t-shirts. There was another shirt that was, Guns Kill. But from
Guns Kill Hippies.
From hippies.
Yes. That was from the guys that make Multicam.
Oh, it wasn't I Kick Hippies?
No, it was Guns Kill Hippies.
But it wasn't from ikickhippies.com?
No. It was from the guys that make Multicam. That company, Multicam. Oh, come on, Paul. Manufacturer. Why can I not remember? Cry Precision. Jeez, hello. Yeah. Cry Precision. I got that t-shirt years ago. From Cry Precision. And it was black, and it said Guns Kill in really big letters, and then in little small letters behind it said hippies. That, because when I'd wear that, people would either initially smile as they read it and then frown as they finished reading it, or they do the opposite. They would frown and then they would finish reading it and laugh. And that's how I knew whether they were a douche or not. Oh man, yeah, that was one of my go-tos. I missed that shirt, but I wore it for so long that it wore out. Yeah. I guess what we're trying to tell you is, if you're looking for a shirt that is an a-hole filter, we've got them for you. Jared, did we get any feedback from the grad program about whether or not they wanted the adult version of the AAFU shirts?
Not yet.
Okay.
I mean,
if you're
need a couple of days for that.
If you guys remember the original AAFU shirts and what they said on the back of them, Because we only did them once. We did them one time, but good stuff. All right. We have a SWAT Fuel Warrior of the Week questione today, and we are happy to answer it. We're excited about it. And as soon as Zach plays the music, we're going to get into it. You know what I imagine, Jared? I imagine people who never, ever watch the video portion of this, and they just listen, and they're like, why is that guy yell? Why every time they play that video is that guy yell? Because he's pushing weight over his head. That's why. All right. So how does one become the SWAT Fuel Warrior of the Week, Jared? And what should they do if they become that one?
It's really easy. You just call 844-207-7684. Leave a clear and concise question. And if for some reason you're embarrassed of your voice, you don't want to call the number and ask the question, you can write us in at info@studentofthegun.com. And it doesn't, I mean, a clear and concise question. Can you write those? I guess you can.
Yeah,
also
you can
write a clear and concise question as well. Now, if we do pick your question, then we look at the number, we look at the voicemail box first, and then we move on to the email box. So if you really want to be picked, then call the number 844-207-7684. And then if we do pick you, then send an email to info@studentofthegun.com. Include your name, mailing address, your phone number, and your email typed into the body, please.
Yes. All right. Who's going to read the question?
I can do it.
Okay.
It's from Ryan Hepfer. And it says, what are some overlooked prep pantry items? I almost said overcooked. Some overlooked prep pantry items. Okay. That is an excellent question. And well, between Jared and I and you guys, and maybe Zach, if you want to jump in, you can do it too. What does everybody, let's go ahead and say, what does everybody do first? The easy thing is to go to the canned food aisle and buy canned food. Like, for instance, when I told my wife, I said, hey, this is months and months and months ago. We need to bolster up our stock because we moved here. We were living with Jared when I had cancer, and so we didn't have our own personal pantry and so forth. And so when we moved here, we had some stuff, but we needed to, replenish. So what did she do? She went out and bought canned goods, canned corn, canned beans, canned carrots, canned black beans. And I told her the other day, I said, stop buying black beans. We have enough. We don't need any more. And I said, instead of buying black beans, let's buy some other stuff, right? Because that's obviously the easiest thing to do. The easiest thing to do is to buy canned goods. Soup, buy canned soups, buy this, buy that, whatever. Obviously, you're going to encounter things that cost more. For instance, anything that is a protein, if you guys haven't figured this out yet, protein costs money. You need protein. Your body needs protein. You can't just eat rice and beans, and you're going to pay for it. A can of chicken or a can of ham or a can of, whatever, beef or whatever, they all cost more. And there's a reason behind that. But you've got to have it. So the easy thing, the thing that people probably get first is they go to during the height of the pandemic back in April or so, did you guys in Salt Lake City experience rationing in your grocery stores? Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Especially Costco.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Only so many per customer.
Yeah.
Yep.
Thankfully, I was smart, and literally I saw the article that said whoever the fuck is, damn it, We just did two. We
Now you
just
got
did
to
two.
beep yourself.
We just did 2 bonus hours. I'm sorry. Whatever. The CDC was bringing in a person into the local thing, a COVID patient to the Huntsman. I was like, well,
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to the store right now. And I went there. I bought like $120 worth of stuff. And then like 3 weeks later, everything went down and they started being like, 2 cans of soup per person. And please only use as many bags as you need. Because apparently people were hoarding the baggies, the
Grocery store baggies.
Yeah.
So while we're talking about pantry stuff, the important thing to do is to figure out if you need to go into your emergency stock of food, how many calories are you going to be eating per day? Do you need to consume more than 2,000 calories because you're going to be chopping wood or doing some kind of activity that's going to require more calories, or is 2,000 calories or 1,500 calories going to be enough to get you through the time that you actually need to use your emergency stock?
Yeah, if you're just sitting around waiting to die, you don't need that many calories.
Yeah. And so, but first thing to do is figure out how many calories you think you're going to need. And your life is different than mine. I'm planning for, when I dip into my emergency food, I'm planning for 2,000 calories a day at least. And so then once you know that, then you can break it up between the macros, whether it be fat, carbohydrates, protein, fiber, etc. And you can figure out what foods you need to consume what foods you need to consume to hit the macros that you need for that specific calorie diet. And so I'm looking at, in a 2,000 calorie diet, I'm looking at about 30% fat, 30% protein, and then 40% carbs, about that.
Mm-hmm.
And so I know that I need 110 grams of fat, 225 protein, and 300 carbs. I'm sorry, that's not right. I'm looking at the wrong thing.
Are you mathing on the radio?
Yeah, I'm mathing on the radio. 640. Yeah. So 71 grams of fat, 145 grams of protein, and then 194 grams of carbs. I was the 110, 225, and 300 was for like when I'm lifting heavy. And so I took that and I figured out the percentage of calories for that was like 3,200. So then I took it and I said, okay, if I'm going to be 2,000 calories a day, then I need this. And I put this all on a sheet. And now I know that I need to have that many calories of those macros, or that many grams of those macros. So now I can go find the food that will then be in my pantry that will fill those macros.
One thing that I think a lot of people will overlook because it's something that they just get all the time. There's 2 things that you're going to overlook. It's that thing that you only buy once every 3 or 4 months. You know what I mean? Whether it's cooking oil, or whether it's flour, or whether it's sugar. In your household, there may be something that your wife or you or whatever only buys literally a couple times a year, or once every 3 or 4 months. And so that's something that you never think about it. So you're likely to run out. How many people have something in your house that you don't use that much, but you use it enough that you end up running out, and then you're like, crap, how do we run out of that? And then staple type things that every household should have. You should have at least a gallon of vinegar, white vinegar, at least a gallon, probably 2. You're not going to eat it, but bleach, you should have at least 1 gallon or more of bleach. Liquid bleach only is good for a year. Powdered bleach is good for 2 years. So check the labels. And something like liquid bleach, you're going to have to rotate out. Then your cooking oil, how much cooking oil are you going to use? I don't know. But the fact of the matter is, if you need to have it. Now, there are some things that you can go without. You're like, well, if we don't have, green beans, but we have carrots, or we have beets, or we have whatever, I'll be okay. I'm not going to die. But then there are certain things that you just need. Like you need, if you're going to make certain recipes, you're going to make bread, you need flour, right? You need some kind of flour. I don't care what your favorite flour is, you need it. Sugar. We don't eat a lot of sugar here in the house. Like, we don't use a lot of white sugar, but we still have it because you do need it sometimes. And the fact of the matter is, if you've got a lot of sugar, you can barter sugar, with other people. And then other things that go bad. Eggs, right? Eggs are only going to stay fresh for so long. Milk is only going to stay fresh for so long. Shelf-stable milk, it doesn't taste great. Shelf-stable milk does not taste as good as a good gallon of milk. Or what's the good high-protein stuff within the red jug? You know what I mean? That weightlifters.
Oh, it's those. Are you talking about the lactose-free Fairlife stuff with the high protein?
Fairlife. Yeah, the Fairlife red ones that have lots of protein in them, and they're good. That's great, but if you can't go to the store for a month, that's going to go bad. You're not going to have it. So now shelf-stable milk isn't forever. You don't buy shelf-stable milk and then come back and get it in 5 years. It's not, but it's good for 6 months. So keep that in mind. And then other things. Now, how often do you replace coffee? That's what it was.
Is it whole bean or is it ground?
That's what it was. That was the third thing. Coffee, tobacco, whiskey.
Yep, it is. Yeah.
Yep. Coffee, tobacco, and whiskey are always going to be valuable. Always. They're always going to, and they're going to be even more valuable when the stores aren't open, or the stores are overcrowded, or people are rioting at the stores. And like I said, even if you don't consume alcohol, and even if you don't use tobacco, and even if you don't, the fact of the matter is, maybe your neighbor does, and your neighbor does you a favor. You need help, and your neighbor does you a favor, and you want to say thanks. And the truth is, giving a neighbor cash for helping you is kind of crude. If your neighbor comes over and you're like, man, I got to get all this wood cut up, and it's just me, whatever. And your neighbor's like, oh, I'll help you. And he spends half a day helping you cut up wood, and you give him a fifth of Jack Daniels. That's way nicer than like, hey, here you go, buddy. Here's a $20 bill. You're like, you're a jerk. Or whatever, rum or vodka or gin, or I don't know, whatever. The fact of the matter is, if you want to say thank you to somebody, that's a better thank you. Don't you think, Jared, or you think I'm just full of crap?
I guess the personal preference, really.
Yeah. I mean,
it's like, I would appreciate a thing better than cash.
Right.
Because there's more thought put into it. But At the same time, maybe if you're listening to this, maybe you could really use some cash. So, yeah, but there's a deal. If the stores are closed or they're being looted or what, if all the stores in your city have been looted, it doesn't matter how many $20 bills you have, you ain't getting crap. Yeah. So you're like, well, maybe in the future I'll be able to use this money for something, but in the present, it's like a plate of cookies. If somebody's wife bakes you a big old plate of cookies, I'd rather have a plate of cookies than $10. So because I can eat those. What I really prefer? What? Over anything else is I really love IOUs that'll actually be delivered on. So that way, when we need something, when I need something, I can say, "Hey, I need your help," and you're like, "Okay, great, get it to me." Nope. Solomon says, "Pay your debts right away." Yep. Solomon says, "Pay your debts right away." So, other things that are overlooked. So we talked about barter whiskey. We talked about shelf-stable milk. Talked about having things like cooking oil, white vinegar. You should have isopropyl alcohol and what's the other stuff in the brown bottle? Hydrogen peroxide. What other things, guys, should you have in your pantry? You should have canned food items. You should have bulk food items. I think you obviously you need some water stored up. Yeah, some water. I think you pretty much hit all of the stuff though. Flour or wheat berries if you have a grinder and you've got the means to do that. Yeah. What else? Yeast. Well, yeast is a big one.
Yep. Exactly. Now you should learn how to make yeast. It's not hard. You just need to know how.
Flour and water, apparently. Is that it?
Uh,
I haven't tried it yet, but I remember Mom made some.
Yeah. I wrote an article that's how long ago did I write that? It was like 7 foods that'll last longer than you, or something like that. You guys remember when I wrote that?
No, I don't.
It was when we were in.
I actually do remember that article.
Really?
Yeah, it was like, I think it was 7 foods that'll outlive you or live longer than you or whatever. That's a pretty common theme. 9 foods that'll never expire, 7 foods that will live longer than you.
Honey.
Essentially, if you can keep the bugs out, the things that cause food to dehydrate. All right, why does, if you pick a tomato from your garden, set it on your counter, and then leave it there, why does it go bad faster than if you put it in a Ziploc bag and put it in the freezer? What's it exposed to?
Tomatoes, are you?
Oxygen, right? You can freeze tomatoes. You can freeze anything.
I know you can, but I know like lettuce will turn to mush as soon as it defrosts.
Oh yeah, I mean lettuce will. But salt. We didn't talk about salt.
Oh, yeah. Why do Seventh-day Adventists live longer than most Americans?
I don't know.
That is not the article that you wrote.
No,
that's what Google returned.
Dried beans, white rice. You want white rice, not brown rice or jasmine rice, because there's oil in that'll make it decompose. But essentially, anything you want to keep out of the sunlight, and you want to keep it out of the oxygen. Oxygen makes food go bad, right? That's why we vacuum seal stuff.
Yep.
That's why you vacuum seal stuff and you put it in the freezer. You vacuum seal it, you put it in the freezer, and it stays good for a long time. Because it's not in the sunlight and it's not exposed to the oxygen and moisture, obviously. And on the outside, bugs. So it needs to be in a container that no bugs are going to get into, that's not in the sunlight and is not exposed to moisture or air. Sugar, honey, salt, vinegar, rice, beans, oats, things like that. Didn't Jeff and Wally did an experiment. How old was that wheat grain? You remember the wheat grain experiment that they did?
I thought that they were doing coffee experiment.
No, they did one with grain, and it was super old. I think it was like 25 years or something like that.
I do not remember that.
And it was grain, and they ground it up and made bread out of it and ate it. And that's great that it lasts that long. But remember, you can't just eat grain unless you don't want to have teeth anymore. You have to
soak it in water for 24 hours and then kind of munch on it. But
no, you need a grinder. You need to have the ability to grind it.
There's some really cool, like there's electric grinders for the wheat berries and the grain, but you can do there's bicycle attachments, which is pretty cool. And then there's the hand grinders, which take a long time and burn more calories than you're going to get, but it's better than not having one at all.
Well, yeah, it's better than not having anything. You're going to need
bicycle attachments are pretty slick though.
Yeah. You're going to need a lot of grain. I mean, a lot of calories. All right. How many of you guys, when you were young, helped your grandma make homemade ice cream and you had to turn the crank? You guys never did. You kids, nope. My kids never did. I did when I was young. Because you got to keep continuously turning it and 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 keep going and keep going and keep going. That's why they make electric motors, so that you don't have to sit there and keep doing that forever and ever and ever and ever. Yeah, you can do that with a grinder. Eventually, you're going to be like, this be sucking. That's why you have kids. Hopefully you have kids for the apocalypse so you can make them do menial tasks like that.
I'll be happy when I can just get Ruth to pick up stuff after herself. Right now she's running around in her walker just spreading stuff all over the floor.
Throwing things. She plays. I love it how babies play fetch with you.
Yeah. It's like
I bet if I throw this on the floor that they'll pick it up.
Yep.
And then they pick it up, and then I throw it on the floor and they pick it up again.
Or I'm going to chew on this fuzzy rabbit and then throw up all over it and then rub it all over everything.
Nice.
Because mom and dad didn't know I threw up all over it, and then we find throw up all over everything. We're like, "What? Come on, kid!
Oh,
What the heck?"
nice. So, yeah, there's lots of things. And one of the best things to talk about, and that's why we have these conversations with each other, because as individuals, we get focused on one area. We're like, oh no, got to have blank. Like, I have to have cases of MREs. And all right, and I got that. And like, well, you got cases of MREs, but you don't have any sugar. You don't have any flour. You don't have any salt. You got to have that too. Right. And salt is cheap now, but during the, and the pandemic that we just had in April and May wasn't that, it was bad, but it wasn't that bad. It could be way worse. And our local store, they almost everything on the shelf was one per customer. Bags of beans, one per customer. Yep. Kegs of salt, one per customer. Canned goods, two per customer. That kind of stuff. Packages of hamburger, one per customer. So your point is, you don't want to play that game. I don't want to play that game. You don't want to play that game. And we were fine. We would go to the.
Does homie want to play that game?
Homie don't play that. I don't want to play it. You don't want to play that. So it's always good to talk to other people. Other people will have other ideas and they'll say things like, oh crap. That's when you get the ding. I never thought of that. All right. So let's go ahead and Jared, thank the top contributors to the Student of the Gun public group.
The top contributors this week, it's the top 10 Student of the Gun public group on Facebook. If you actively use Facebook and you're not in the Student of the Gun public group, you are missing out. Go join it. There's a link in the show notes, but you can also just search Student of the Gun public group on Facebook and go join it. Number 10 is Rick Umberger. Number 9 is Steve Brigantis. 8 is Melissa Ridings. 7, Andy Duncan. 6 is Trent Wood. 5 is Brandon Schultz. 4, Scott Hernandez. 3 is JD Guthrie. 2 is Daniel Larson. And number 1 is Len Torowski.
All right, guys.
Yep. And I'm looking at the stats. There's 3 different things that contribute to your status in here. It's obviously posts, comments, and likes. Posts have the most effect, the largest effect on your status. The more you do, the more you do with your own commentary, the better. Obviously, commenting is the next best thing. If you see a post and you've got comments to add to it and they're valuable, then do that. But liking stuff also, it's pretty far down the list of what affects what moves you up the list. But liking also helps.
All right. So thank you to everybody who contributes and participates and moderates. Thank you to all the moderators for putting up with some of the garbage that you have to put up with sometimes. So
yeah, every single post has to manually be approved, and sometimes that gets kind of overwhelming for the moderators. So we really appreciate you guys.
All right. Thank you to our good friends at Duracoat. Duracoat, why?
Because life is too short to have an ugly gun.
Life is too short to have an ugly gun. And I hope that many of you took advantage of the Hug Your AK Day to Duracoat your AK. And if you did not Duracoat your AK, well, what are you waiting for? I Duracoated mine, my ODS 1775. This is the Cadillac of the Kalashnikov. Would you say this is a Cadillac of the Kalashnikov?
Yeah.
A lot of caca. That's a lot of cuss. It's the Kalashnikov Cadillac, or the Cadillac of Kalashnikovs. And if people even use that, freaking Gen Z people probably don't even, or hell, millennials probably don't even know what that means. When I grew up, if something was referred to as the Cadillac of, that meant it was the best. It meant it was the top of the line. The Cadillac of fill in the blank, man.
Oh, now we have Lamborghinis and stuff. So
yeah, but I don't even know if
Cadillacs anymore.
People use that reference anymore. But this is the Cadillac of Kalashnikovs.
Holy crap!
What?
The grain was 40 years old.
Oh, you wrote to Jeff? Okay,
yeah.
I knew it was old.
Wow.
So yeah, it was Wally and Jeff, and they had some grain that had been stored for 40 years. They ground it up and they made bread out of it, and they ate it. So
he was older than me.
Yeah.
And it tasted fine.
It was still good. It was still, yeah. They found, if you want to go crazy, and they actually, in the tomb of Tutankhamun, they found honey and grain that was edible.
Wow.
That was consumable by humans. So
You know what's funny is that it's surprising nowadays, but humans back before the industrial revolution and the internet and all this stuff, the humans were probably like, yeah, duh, we knew that.
well, yeah, that was the thing that you taught your children when they were babies.
Yeah.
You grew up knowing that stuff. And imagine a world where humans stayed alive without refrigerators and air conditioning. People behave today as if I remember when we were living down south and they were opening shelters because it was so hot.
Yeah.
And I was like, and I said, what did people do 100 years ago? How did humans survive? Because it didn't get hot 100 years ago. It didn't get cold 100 years ago. Yes, it did. It got hot and cold 100 years ago. Jared, you actually, the answer to that question. All right, New Orleans. Is it hot in New Orleans?
A little bit, yeah.
Like Africa hot. People show up from Africa and they're like, it's hot here. Remember when we were in old downtown New Orleans and all the doors to the old buildings were 10 feet tall?
Oh, yeah.
Remember that?
Yep.
And the ceilings in the old buildings, were 10, 12 feet high. You know why that is?
Because it allowed air to circulate.
No, it allowed the heat to get away from you. If you had buildings that only had 7 or 8 foot ceilings, that heat would sit on you like a blanket and it would crush you. So what you did is you made buildings with really high ceilings, all right, and that allowed the heat to rise away from the humans. So, and of course you had that's when they used to have valance windows up top, like way high, that you could open, not down low, but you'd open them way up high so you could get air moving. And so we used to know how to do stuff like this. Yeah. Now we're all like, just put it in central air.
How did we get so far off topic?
I don't know.
Survival, man. Survival.
Anyway, so Duracoat is great.
Yeah.
Duracoat is great. I know how. Cadillac.
Yeah.
The Cadillacs of. See, you don't know. You think you know. You're like, I've listened to that show before. I know exactly what Paul's going to say. No, you don't. You think you do.
If you want to be dangerous on demand,
that's right.
Crossbraidholsters.com. Use the promo code SOTG18. I highly recommend the Reckoning holster. That's what I carry, appendix, every single day. Yep. And I actually just added this. This has nothing to do with Crossbreed, but I added this to my EDC here. Ooh, and it works perfect with the Reckoning. I carry it the opposite side appendix, and it fits perfectly. So
now you only have one appendix.
I said the opposite side of appendix.
Okay, the opposite side appendix.
Yes.
So it's spleen carry.
Yeah, spleen carry.
There's appendix carry and there's spleen carry. There's not.
The Reckoning is AIWB. That's what it is.
Brownells. Oh, you use the promo code Be a Happy Camper, get the horsehide backing. Brownells. We did a live unboxing video on our Student of the Gun Facebook on last week day, whenever it was, Tuesday.
Yeah, hey, Zach, I have a question.
Yes.
Do we take those live videos and put them up on Full 30, or do they just live on FB?
We put them on Full 30 afterwards. That's where that's where it's hosted.
Ah, there you go.
The live video?
The unboxing?
No.
We can do that.
Oh. I thought you meant like what we're doing right now. I can.
Oh, yeah, but you don't. I'm going to pull a link right now, so I just want to know where to pull it from.
Okay, yeah, no, pull it from Facebook, and I can upload it later.
Cool.
Yeah. So we did an unboxing of a box from Brownells, and in that box was, and I said red dot because my mind is just focused to think small optics or red dots. It's actually not a red dot sight. It is a magnified optic, but it's a fixed power magnified optic. It's a retro. and it goes on carrying handle ARs. It's specifically designed for the original Colts, kind of like the original Stoners, like the T-shirt Jared's wearing right now.
Original Stoner.
It's an original.
It looks
Stoner.
exactly like this.
That's right.
Actually.
It's an original Stoner type optic. And then also Brownells they have their own line of high-powered rifle scopes. So I have a 3x18 variable power, external adjustment knobs. It's got a illuminated reticle. It's got all the bells, whistles. It has a 34 millimeter tube. So it's got a lot of adjustment and a lot of light gathering capability. And it's from Brownells. And
go watch that live stream to get more information.
Yep. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So we talked about that. And also there was ammo available. I told you guys to do this. If you sign up for their newsletter, the other day I got a newsletter from them and it said status update ammunition. And what that was Brownells telling me, hey, we got an order in. This is what's in stock. If you want it, go buy it because it's not going to be here forever. And that is the world that we're living in right now. If you want to find ammo, you've got to do stuff like that. You need to sign up. And when they have it in stock, you'll get an email. It says, bing, this is what we've got in stock. And I mean, I remember going through it. It was like shotgun ammo and stuff. Anyway, but that was all from our friends at Brownells. So check those guys out and make sure you thank them. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is time, if you are a new listener, to close that hole underneath your nose, open up both your ears, and listen louder.
Attention, new listeners. We produced a complimentary online training course called 7 Training Tips That Could Save Your Life. Get instant access by joining the Student Lounge for free at studentofthegun.com. Do you watch Student of the Gun TV, read the blog, and follow us on Facebook? If you answered no to any of these questions, you are wrong, but you can easily fix yourself. Go to studentofthegun.com to find everything SOTG.
Yes, indeed. That is what you should do to find everything SOTG. Go to studentofthegun.com. If you're not doing that, you're missing out. You really are. You really are. Last week, we talked to our friend Scott Hambrick from the wind tunnel known as Oklahoma. We're going to have to pitch in and get Scott a microphone that has a dead cat on it so that cut the wind. But we talked a little bit about, we got in depth and like how it is that our side of the equation is constantly losing and the frustration. And Scott pointed out, he said, the one thing that the left, that the communists, they have over us is that they have a strategy, things that they want to accomplish. They want to destroy the capitalist system, okay? They want to put the state in charge of all production. They want the state to be in control of farms. They want the state to be in control of auto manufacturing. They want the state to be in control of healthcare, because when you put the state in control of healthcare, you essentially become the daddy or the mommy or the ruler of the people. If you have to go to the state and ask them for health care, they own you. They control you. So that is what they want. They have a strategy. And they have things that they want to accomplish. And where we have been screwing up is we've been falling into this, and this is the reasonable man disease, the strategy of defense. We wait, from a political standpoint, we wait until that side attacks us, until they do something, they threaten us with a bill, or they threaten us with an ideology. And we go on the defense, and we defend against that attack, right? They put forward a bill that says, here's what we're going to do. We're going to make all of your rifles illegal. You're not allowed to own a rifle that has a magazine, detachable magazine, or a thing that flips up, or because they don't even know what they're talking about, or a chainsaw attachment, or or a grenade launcher, or anything, even though it's perfectly legal in the United States to, somebody posted the other day, I saw it, it's like, you can own a grenade launcher. And I'm like, yeah, I know that. You can own almost anything you want if you're willing to pay for it. You can apply for a destructive devices license and fill out the paperwork and give them the required amount of money that they want, whatever it is, the license, and it changes all the time. And once you get that, you can go out and buy an M203. You can go out and buy a full auto M16 right now if you got the money and fill out the paperwork. So, I never said you couldn't do that, but it's all about asking the state, right? But let's say you're in fill in the blank state, right? And the lead Democrat in your state house comes up with a bill that says, assault weapons bill, and what do? We wait until we're attacked, and then we panic and we scramble to try, because if we don't, then we'll be defeated because we're under attack. We do this, we wrap ourselves in the word defense. We love the word self-defense. And why do we love that word, Jared? Why do we spend so much time, if defense is actually a failed strategy? Why does our side love it so much?
Because defense is easier than offense.
I don't know if it's easier. Actually, I think offense is easier because you don't have to wait for anybody to do anything. You just do.
Yeah, but it may be physically easier, but mentally to put yourself in a mind frame of being offensive rather than defensive, I think it takes more effort to do that. Yeah.
Well, defense, using the term defense, now there's two parts that go into it. Number one, there's the legal precedent, because in our litigious world and in law, self-defense, the person defended themselves. Okay. But what we do naturally as humans is we take these things and we take them to the extreme. Now, we mentioned when we were talking to Scott last week about these people in Wisconsin that literally have thugs running wild in their neighborhoods, throwing rocks through their windows. The people in this residential neighborhood have nothing to do with the complaint. These crowds apparently they're lashing out against police brutality. Okay. So you're lashing out against police brutality by walking through a residential neighborhood and smashing out windows. What do Mr. and Mrs. Jones, who live in that house whose windows you just smashed out, do they have the ability to confront or stop police brutality? That's your complaint, right? No, that's thug behavior. That's terrorism. So why aren't the people stopping these thugs? Why aren't they rolling them up? Why aren't they thumping them? Because they're afraid. They're afraid to. They've been taught to be afraid. They've been taught if they go out and actually fight them, then they'll be wrong. What have we talked? We've talked about cover, Jared, from a standpoint of practicality. Or what is cover when it comes to shoot, bang, bang, gun?
It's something that that can stop bullets. It's
right.
Not conceal it. It's different than concealment.
Right.
And also cover is temporary.
Right. Cover is a form of defense, right? Cover is defense. Cover is in any object that will stop a bullet from hitting you. Could be a refrigerator, it could be a pile of sandbags, could be a tree, could be anything, right? Any object that will stop a bullet from getting to you is cover, and that's good. When in 1986, when I took John Farnham's, the first course I ever took from John Farnham, he taught us, he said, you always need to be cover conscious. Wherever you are in the world, whether you're in a house or a public building or on the street or whatever, if I yell go, you should be aware enough to move to cover in seconds, right? And that's a good thing. That's a tactical defense. That's a defensive strategy, and it's a good tactic. However, you cannot just live behind cover. Let's say that you are caught in, and we've talked about this before, about, what do you do if you're in a mall with your wife, kids, whatever, and bad people, terrorists walk in, whether they're American, domestic terrorists or they're foreign terrorists, and they walk in, they're like, okay, we're just going to kill people wholesale until somebody makes a stop. And you run for cover and you hide behind that cover. That cover is only good until they walk around the other side, right? That's temporary. Unfortunately, from our mindset is we're constantly looking for cover. We're constantly looking to hide. The advice that the police in Wisconsin gave the citizens was what, Jared? Remember? Hide in your house.
Like hide in your house. Yeah. Go in there and make sure that you're not
lock your doors and hide.
This.
Lock your doors and hide. And you're like, well, yeah, Paul, of course, that's a great idea. No, it's not. It's a terrible idea, because it's only going to last for so long, and then it's not going to work anymore. Think about castles or forts, fortifications. When a king or a lord or whatever builds a castle or a fortification, do they build up the walls and then they go into the interior rooms and party and celebrate and have banquets and play cards and stuff? Or do they put men on the walls? You're like, well, they put men on the walls, of course. Duh. Why? If the fort's good, who cares? Well, because eventually, if you don't fight back, your cover will be destroyed. If you just build walls and go hide, eventually the bad people will destroy those. They will knock those down and they will come find you. People ask you, like, why are we still 80 years into the NFA? Why are we still losing ground? Now, we haven't lost as much lately, but we still are. Why do we lose ground constantly? Why haven't we gained any ground? Why aren't we back to where we were in 1932? If our side is right and the Second Amendment is an absolute and the government doesn't have any authority to rule against it, why are we constantly losing ground? Is it because we're applying the same defensive strategy? You see, the other side knows that as long as they keep attacking and we keep defending, they will continue to gain ground. Maybe just a little bit here, but it's ground. It's an advance. Now, they might have wanted 100 yards of ground, but they only gained 50. It's still a win. And as long as we, on our side, continue to embrace ourselves in this reasonableness, this, defensive strategy, as long as we continue to wait for the other side to attack us and then to scramble and fight back against that attack, we will continuously lose. That's what we've been doing. And people say, well, how come we keep losing ground? Because we keep taking the same strategies that we applied 50 years ago and lost. We applied it 25 years ago and lost. And we're trying it today. Rather than go on the attack and say, no, you people are violating the law. You're violating the Constitution. You're violating the founding principles of our country. You are absolutely wrong. And Jared, what has been happening, and you are old enough now to pay attention. So California, perfect example, the classic example. They lose some of their rights, and then they say, well, okay, but now that they got this, the left passes this bill. Now you can't have a gun that holds X number of bullets. You can't have a gun that looks this way or has a plastic thing or the thing that goes up or a barrel shroud, whatever the farfignugan they think that is, right? And we've had people in our audience tell us, well, okay, yeah, I know it's bad, but now that they've done that, they'll leave us alone. They're happy now. They're satisfied. They'll leave us alone. We can come up with solutions that fit that rule, and we'll be okay. How's that worked? What do you mean, how's it work, Paul? How's that work for them? When California ruled that no rifle could have a detachable magazine that didn't require a tool to detach the magazine, what did they come up with in California? The bullet button, right?
Yeah, I would say the bullet button. It's like the human condition is find a loophole for this thing, but after you go so far down the rabbit hole of that, then where at what point, instead of saying let's find a loophole, do we say no, that is not okay, and here's why? Right.
So Jared has a meeting and he's got to go, so I'm going to go ahead and finish it up. My point is this, ladies and gentlemen. What we're doing, on our side or in our group, we are never going to win until we change our strategy. And as long as our strategy is wait for the other side to attack us and then defend, we're always going to lose. Now, we might lose a little bit less here and there, but it's still losing. And until we find our collective cojones and say, you know what? When I have friends, you have friends, I've said it, our friends said, all gun control laws are unconstitutional. Oh, come on, Paul. Come on. We can't just, you can't be obstinate and hard-headed, and that's not how we win. Well, let me tell you what, your solution to how we win is not how we win. Your solution to playing a little game and bargaining here and bargaining there, you've bargained away our freedoms for 80 years, and we're no closer to freedom than we were. So until we decide that defense is not a good strategy, we will continuously lose. Put that feather in your cap and go with it. That's all I've got to say with that. If you don't agree with me, great, but the facts will bear me out. Every time we adopt a defensive strategy, we lose. And that's it. So we got to stop doing it. We got to find a better way.
Yep. There's one thing that I need you guys to do before you go. Join the Discord server. It's open to the public. There are portions of the server that only the grad program can access, but the entire server is open to you guys, even if you're not a grad program member. And just go to studentofthegun.com/discord to join there. And we play the live show. We live stream directly to the Discord, so you can watch, listen there. And Zach, do me a favor, take that link and drop it into the comments of the Facebook post and also into the public Discord.
All right,
not the Discord, the other group. So thanks, buddy.
I know what you mean.
Yeah. All right, kids, that's it for today. We'll be back on Wednesday. Remember, if you didn't post your hug your AK pics, you still can. You're allowed. And in addition to that, you're a beginner once.
You're a student for life.
We appreciate your reviews. If you haven't left a review or updated yours recently, head on over to Facebook, iTunes, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, or your favorite podcast player to voice your opinion. Don't forget to join us at the Student Lounge, a place for like-minded individuals to learn, connect, and support each other. No chicanery will be tolerated. Remember to check studentofthegun.com daily for new, free content and giveaways. Watch, listen, read, shop, and connect at studentofthegun.com. Are you a social butterfly? Connect with us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter for new content each and every day at Student of the Gun. Watch Student of the Gun TV and videos from our trusted partners on Roku, Apple TV, Amazon Fire TV, Chromecast, and even AirPlay. Go to studentofthegun.com for direct links, and remember, you're a beginner once, a student for life.